Welcome to the Tennessee Virtual College Fair. Thank you for joining us this evening. Before we get started with our presentation, just a few quick housekeeping items to go over. The first is that as this is a webinar, you will be asking questions of the panelists via the Q&A feature. So please feel free to pose questions to specific panelists or just feel free to pose any general questions that you may have. Also, your camera and microphone are off, so the panelists will not be able to see or hear you during the sessions. We'd also encourage you to sign up for more sessions on the same website that you used to sign up for this. And then about 1 week from today, a recording of this session will be available on that same registration website. But without further ado, I'd like to go ahead and introduce our first panelist of the evening, Auburn University.
Thank you so much. I am going to give you my presentation right now. So let's see here. All right, I am just first want to thank all of you for being here. I'm really grateful to be here as your admissions advisor for the state of Tennessee. If you're not familiar with Auburn University, I at least want to ground you geographically speaking. So we're about 6 hours drive from Memphis, just as an FYI. We're also about 2 hours south of Birmingham and Atlanta in different directions, and about 3.5, 4 hours north of all of the beautiful beaches along the Alabama and Florida coastline. So great geographic location for a lot of folks. You can also see basically this couple of blurbs on this page saying that we've got about 65, 70,000 residents in the city of Auburn that are not Auburn students. So definitely a suburban feel, kind of that classic college town experience. People want to come to school here, they want to raise their families here, they want to retire here. So it's definitely an eclectic group of folks of all ages. I also want to fast forward to this screen, which will hopefully give you kind of an eagle eye view of campus. So if you want to pretend that we're all on campus right now, we're on the tallest building called the Haley Center, and you really get a good idea, hopefully, of how green and beautiful and walking friendly campus is. So while we have 30,000 students on campus and close to 25,000 undergrads and usually bring in about 4,800 students each year, campus is really walking friendly, has lots of green spaces, and can only take, or usually only takes 15 minutes of a walk from one side to the other. You shouldn't have to do that if you plan your schedule correctly, but still gives you, hopefully, this picture a good idea of what campus looks like. We've also got over 150 majors, close to 600 student organizations. We are in the SEC, so in a lot of ways we're a really big school, and so that may be expected, but I got a couple of other slides that I want to get to, and one of which is kind of expecting the unexpected, but I want to talk about our land grant status first. So if you're not familiar, we are a land grant school, which essentially means we were founded in the mid-1800s to essentially serve the state of Alabama, its citizens, and then the United States as a whole. And back in the 1800s, oftentimes serving the citizens of the state meant agricultural and mechanical majors like engineering. So the College of Agriculture, College of Engineering have been around for the very beginning and often is why folks know about us, rightly so. But a land grant mission is really driven towards making sure that we are taking care of everybody from a scholarly and practical research and hands-on experience perspective. And two good examples, I think, of like the 21st century application of that is, first picture, top right, is our 20K home initiative with our rural studio, which is with our architecture program. And so the idea of this program specifically, rural studio, is to serve the state of Alabama, the west side of the state, which is honestly a pretty underserved part of the country. And it's really about giving back to those folks who may not otherwise be able to benefit from good design. And this 20K home initiative is allowing students at Auburn to learn how to both design and build homes for less than $20,000 where they would not otherwise have that experience and that opportunity. We've built over 200 structures in the 30 years that Rural Studio has been around. We also have, next up, engineering, the bottom right picture, which is our cybersecurity research center. It's housed within our College of Engineering, specifically computer science, but we've got partnerships with FBI, FAA, NSA. So it's all about making sure that we are staying safe as individuals and as a country, given that we do share so much of ourselves online. The next thing I want to talk about is expecting the unexpected. So for example, fashion merchandising, that major at Auburn is one of the best in the country and often surprises folks. We're also kind of a cultural capital for performing arts. So the bottom left corner shows you our Performing Arts Center. It's named after our current president, Gouge, so it's the Gouge Performing Arts Center. Of course, this season had to be canceled, but last year when it opened its doors for the first time, we had over 50 shows of Broadway shows, orchestras, dance, all sorts of things. So it's really exciting for the Auburn community as a university, as well as the community at large. We've also got a brand new culinary science program, one of the only in its kind at a four-year college and university like Auburn. And this mock-up drawing to your right is of a new culinary science center that we both the culinary side of things as well as a boutique hotel, which is super exciting. We also at the bottom have a picture of one of the classrooms in our Mel classroom building, which is a great way to make classes even smaller than you might expect. Usually they're 40 or fewer, and the student to faculty ratio is 20:1. And then finally, the biggest picture on this slide is our EAGLES program. It's an acronym, and it's essentially a fully transitional program for students with learning disabilities that may not otherwise be able to get a college education. They're able to get that education at Auburn, which we really love, serving everybody from our state. Now, when it comes to applying, I want to talk about that very briefly, knowing that you're welcome to ask questions in the Q&A feature. But essentially, this is what it's like for seniors. Juniors, things may be a little bit different, but for you seniors this year, we are test flexible, meaning that if you've got a test score, great. If you don't, you can send it. So let's just start at the top with the application itself. You can apply either through our website or through the Common App. Either one works for you. We don't have a preference, but we'll ask the same 4 short answer questions. You also upload a copy of your transcript, and we'll look at things like your core and cumulative GPAs, academic rigor, and lots of other things. And then the biggest change from last year to this year is the supplemental document component itself. So if you got a test score that falls within these ranges, I think it'll be a competitive score for admissions. If not, submit something else. We don't have a preference for scores for admissions or scholarship purposes. So the other options, graded writing assignment, expanded resume, or APIB score report. And then when it comes to applying, you've got 5 different options. One deadline has already passed. We've got an upcoming one of October 15th, and then December 1st is the last early action deadline. And essentially, it's just about making sure that you apply for admission by December 1st if you want to be eligible to apply for scholarships. So I know I'm running out of time. If you need me, this is a great way to reach me, katie.morgan@auburn.edu, but feel free to drop questions in the chat about the application process or anything else about Auburn. Thanks, everybody.
Okay, thank you very much, Auburn. Before we introduce our next presenter this evening, just a quick reminder to anybody who joined us late, please feel free to ask any questions you may have of any of our panelists through the Q&A feature. Up next this evening is University of South Carolina.
All right, thanks. I'm going to share my screen, then we get started. All right. So I really appreciate everybody for being here tonight to tell you a little bit about the University of South Carolina. If you're not super familiar with where South Carolina is located, we are in the city of Columbia, which is the state capital of South Carolina. Great thing about being in the capital city is that there's plenty of things to do on the weekends, plenty of things to do throughout the week as well. Lots of restaurants, businesses that you can take advantage of, lots of internship opportunities and co-ops within the city. And there's also a lot of things to do outdoors if you're really interested in doing outdoor activities. There's the Congaree River National Park that kind of goes through the city of Columbia. A lot of students will go kayaking down there, go tubing. There's a lot of walking and running trails that are also throughout the city as well. So it's a really beautiful area. Another benefit of kind of being in the city is there's a lot of opportunities for you to get involved in different types of community service projects, and that's definitely something that we ask students to get involved in. If you're not really familiar with the geographical location of Columbia, we're about an hour and a half from Charlotte, North Carolina, about an hour and a half from the beach in Charleston, South Carolina, and about an hour and a half from mountains. So if you're interested in doing any type of activities like that, maybe you want to go to a larger, big city like Charlotte, North Carolina, or if you want to head to the beach for a quick weekend trip, that's definitely something that's an option for you to do as a student. At South Carolina, we put a huge emphasis on academics. There are 56 different nationally ranked programs at our university. We have a 17:1 student to faculty ratio, and there's 300 different unique options that you can choose from. One thing I always like to mention to students is you'd be really hard pressed to not be able to find something that you can major in and be successful in something that you're interested in at South Carolina. We are a Tier 1 research institution, so what that means is that we have a very high level of research opportunities at South Carolina. In fact, we encourage students to get involved as early as their freshman year in research opportunities. And it's really as simple as just mentioning to your professor, hey, what kind of research are you doing on campus? And they can help you get involved with that. Like I already mentioned before, I kind of talked about internships. Learning beyond the classroom, that's kind of a phrase you'll hear a lot at South Carolina. We really want to make sure that you get experience outside of just the campus. One of the things you'll notice if you haven't been able to visit the campus, if you just look at pictures, it's a beautiful campus. You have a city setting, but then at the same time, you get that traditional campus feel. But we want to make sure that you're doing some things off of the campus as well, whether that's through study abroad, internships, getting involved in co-ops, getting involved in some different types of undergraduate research opportunities. We just want to make sure that you are as prepared as possible and you have all of the experiences that you would want to get in college before you graduate from South Carolina. And kind of one of the things I do want to briefly go over, one of the biggest changes for the universities because of the impact of COVID and how many students have not been able to have access to the SAT or ACT. We have moved to test optional for this year. So for students that are thinking about applying this year, we are going to be test optional. That applies, across the board actually. So, typically we require test scores for our general application, also for our honors college, and then that our merit-based scholarships are typically based on a combination of test scores and GPA. But this year, we're going to be test optional for all of those factors. So with that being said, we are going to be super scoring both the SAT and ACT so that if you do have a test score, you can submit it. But you have three options to kind of choose from that you see up here. One would be submitting test score. If you don't want to do that, that's okay. Another option would be submitting AP or IB test scores. And then your third option would be submitting a graded writing assignment. It's really up to you what you choose. You can actually choose all three or just two or one. So it's whatever combination you feel like is going to make you the strongest applicant. So that's just something you'd want to talk with maybe your parents or maybe your guidance counselor and kind of come up with what the best strategy would be whenever you are applying. And then one other note I want you to be aware of is just some of our deadlines that are coming up. For students that are thinking about applying to our early action application, the deadline is October 15th. So that's really important for you to keep that in mind. That is a non-binding decision. It just gives you an opportunity to find out your decision of whether you've been admitted to South Carolina earlier than if you were to apply to our regular decision application. It is recommended that you apply to the early action application if you are considering applying to the Honors College. That just gives you enough opportunity to be able to actually apply to the Honors College because you do have to complete an application to the university before you can actually apply to the Honors College. So definitely something to keep in mind if that's an opportunity that you're interested in applying to. Also, want to make sure that you keep up with some of these deadlines with submitting your supplemental material. If you are applying to the early action application, November 2nd is going to be that deadline to submit all of your additional materials. If you are going to apply regular decision, then the credential deadline is going to be February 1st. So you have a lot of time, and maybe if you're in a position where you feel like you could maybe take some test scores, or if you want to, and you want to wait, you can definitely do that. But we want to make sure that you're aware of all the different deadlines and dates. If you have other questions about that, feel free to reach out to me. And this is me. So if you have questions, you can reach me here with any of those additional questions or ask me in the chat.
Great, thank you, University of South Carolina. Our next presenter for the evening is going to be Miami University.
All righty, good evening, everyone. I'm going to start screen sharing and then jump into presentation mode. There we go. So welcome to the Miami University end of the presentation tonight. My name is Hannah Stone. I am the Miami University rep for the southeastern part of the US. So I realized my contact info is not in this presentation. So if you would like my email at the end of my little section, please do not hesitate to reach out to me and I will give it to you in the chat. So a little bit about who we are. We are Miami University, located in the town of Oxford, Ohio, which is your quintessential college town, located in the southwestern corner of the state of Ohio. So we are about an hour outside of Cincinnati. So we are the brains of a big university with the heart of a small school. So overall, we are a larger mid-size institution with an undergraduate population of a little over 17,000 students. You do share the campus with a little over 2,200 graduate students as well. But the big takeaway here is that we are ranked among some of the top 5 institutions for undergraduate teaching in the nation. So this means that we are dedicated to the success of our undergraduate students. Our average class size is 30 students across 5 different colleges and over 120 different majors. So we are really striving to give you a very personalized educational experience throughout your time as a Miami student. Quick rundown of our academic colleges. We have our College of Arts and Science, our College of Creative Arts, our College of Engineering and Computing, and our College of Education, Health and Society, as well as our Farmers School of Business. So again, we see a lot of crossover with those different colleges. Our students are encouraged to pursue a multidisciplinary path regardless of their majors. So we see students mixing and matching. It's very common on campus for our students to receive a secondary minor or a secondary major upon graduation as well. We are known as a public Ivy institution. This was a moniker given to us in the 1980s in providing an Ivy level-esque education at a public school price. So we are also known to be one of the best value institutions, which I'll explain a little later on. An overview of our accepted student profile. Please keep in mind this year we are test optional for both admission as well as merit for fall of 2021. We do accept the common application, so very easy to apply, and our priority deadline is December 1st with our regular decision deadline on February 1st. So please keep in mind you don't have to have necessarily a GPA or an ACT or an SAT score, even if you're not planning on submitting those for admission within these ranges to be considered for admission. This is rather what we tend to see a number of our applicants having in past years by the time that they have applied. We also have a very national draw to our campus. So not all of our students are from the state of Ohio, and we do attract a majority of our students from across the US as well as the world. For our guaranteed merit scholarships, again, based primarily on GPA this year, to give you an idea of what scholarship range you could typically fall into with your application to Miami, these scholarships are automatically renewable for all 4 years that you would be a Miami student. So once a scholarship's been awarded, nothing extra that you need to do in order to maintain or keep that scholarship. It simply applies until you graduate. And one other thing that does set us apart in terms of that value is our 4-year tuition promise. So this means that we actually lock in our tuition rates for all 4 years of a student's Miami experience. So we believe that college is a 4-year investment, both in time as well as money. So in order to make sure that students and their families have enough information up front, we want to make sure that we give you an accurate tuition number that you can plan on for all 4 years. Because once you start with us as a Miami student, we want to make sure that you are able to complete your degree with us as well. And again, just some quick semantics regarding that transparency. But our outcomes at graduation, again, building on that value. Miami sets our students up for a wide variety of paths after you leave us. We have very competitive rates for law and medical school with our pre-professional tracks, but we also prepare our students to be committed individuals in the society after they graduate, whether that is continuing on in a graduate level higher educational capacity or entering their first careers. And that went very quickly this evening. So again, if you have any questions at all, you would like to learn more information, please reach out to me via the chat box. Thanks.
Great. Thank you, Miami University. Before we move into our next presenter, again, just a reminder for any students who've just recently joined us, please feel free to submit any questions you may have for any of our panelists via the Q&A function. Up next this evening is Virginia Tech.
Alrighty, everybody, welcome. My name is Jasmine Montano Aguilar, and I'm one of the newest admissions counselors here at Virginia Tech. Today, I will be telling you just a little bit more about the opportunities that Virginia Tech has to offer to all of the students, both undergraduate and graduate students. So we are located in Blacksburg, Virginia, which is surrounded by the New River Valley Mountains. As you can tell a little bit of the snippet of our campus right here, we are surrounded by the beautiful mountains, making it a true college town in Blacksburg. Our students do enjoy a lot of outdoor activities, as well as 900 plus student organizations that we currently have on campus. When I say 900 plus student organizations, that can be anything from fraternity and sorority life, all the way up to cultural organizations, business, engineering organizations, and anything in between, even special hobbies like esports and stuff like that. Originally, Virginia Tech was founded as an all-male military institute, but that changed accepting women, making it co-ed, and then having the Corps of Cadet or the military aspect not required for all of our students. However, if you are interested in having that military lifestyle and becoming a cadet of Virginia Tech, you do have 2 tracks. One of them is a leadership track, and then the other one is the military track. Within the citizen leader track, you will not have any commitment to the military, and then within the military track, you will. But again, those are different things that some of our students do and not are all required. This is a quick snapshot of our students that we have here at Virginia Tech as freshman students. So last year we received a little over 31,000 applications, and we have a freshman class of 6,780. Now we are considered a land-grant institution, a public land-grant institution, having a little over 36,000 students. That's both graduate and undergraduate students together. However, you still get that small school feel having a student faculty ratio of 14:1. So when you're going into the colleges or you're going into your major classes, you still get that small school aspect, even being in a bigger school, which a lot of our students really do enjoy. Some of the top majors that we had for our freshman class that we have here on campus are general engineering, business, biology, architecture, and psychology. But in my next slide, I will talk a little bit more in depth about the different majors and colleges that we have on campus. And here you can see that we do have about 9 colleges and a graduate school, as well as the School of Medicine, which is located in Roanoke, Virginia. That's about 35-40 minutes away from us, as well as the Maryland College of Veterinary Medicine. So if you're looking to become a vet, we have a great, also competitive veterinary medicine college here after your undergraduate career. Within all of these 9 colleges that we have to serve our undergraduate students, we house a little over 110 majors. In some of these majors, you can even double major or do a couple of minors. Now, when you're applying to Virginia Tech, major really does matter, meaning that you are applying directly into your major and you're not applying later. One of our most popular but also very competitive colleges that we have here is our College of Engineering. Being a land-grant institution, architecture, agricultural, and engineering have always existed at Virginia Tech, making them very competitive and well-known. Within these, we highly recommend students to make sure that they are taking either the highest level of math and science to make them competitive. And I'll tell you a little other requirements within the application in itself. Within architecture, one different thing and distinctive thing within architecture, that major is actually a 5-year bachelor's degree program, meaning that you are going to do 5 years, but it incorporates a lot of hands-on as well as a lot of other majors. Some majors that you won't think that Virginia Tech might have or could be in liberal arts and human sciences. That college houses a little over 36 majors, anything from foreign languages all the way up to cinema, fine arts, performing arts, theater arts as well. So we do have a mix of array of students that are coming from anywhere and any interest. Now, how to apply. This year specifically, we have 2 ways of applying: the coalition application and also the common application. You don't have to choose, we don't actually prefer one over the other. It's just making sure that you're doing the one that you feel more comfortable with. We do have a holistic review approach, and that's both academic and personal. Within going through your academic, we require our students to submit a self-reported academic record. And also, if you are submitting your test scores, they will also be self-reported. So we don't need official copies of anything just yet. This year specifically, we are going test optional, just like a lot of other universities stated before, for our seniors. So we just want to make sure that there's no barriers if you're looking to come to Virginia Tech. Specifically, what we look within your transcript is your academic rigor. We want to know, have you challenged yourself? And if you have you been successful in them? And we do not accept letters of recommendation or any resumes. The second portion is more of that personal portion. We have 4 ut prosum essay questions that we will ask you. Within these 4 ut prosum essay questions, they will ask you about your service, resilience, leadership, and we want to know what you want to do after Virginia Tech. Within all of these 4, this year specifically, these 4 questions are the most important questions for you if you are going test optional. And then lastly, we have some of our deadlines here. We do have a binding deadline of November 1st, which is early decision. And then early action is usually the deadline that I recommend all of the students to apply if Virginia Tech is one of your top 5 schools. But if you do have any questions about any of the information that I presented, you can definitely contact me, which I have my contact information right there.
Thank you, Virginia Tech. And again, please do feel free to send any questions any of these reps you may have. It's a good opportunity to get some answers. Up next this evening is the University of Southern Mississippi.
Hi, everyone. I want to say thank you for joining tonight. Let me go ahead and share my screen with you guys. So we are the School of University of Southern Mississippi. We're located in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. We're about 4 hours away from Memphis. So it's a real quick drive as well. And I'm just going to talk to you a little bit more about Southern Miss as well. So Southern Miss was founded in 1910 as a small teachers college. And so we have about 15,000 students and counting. And so we actually have 2 branches of our campus. Our main campus is located in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. And our second campus is located in Long Beach, Mississippi. So you get a pretty nice view of the beach as well. We have 140 academic degree programs for students to choose from as well. And then our class ratio is about 22 to 25 students per class, and 17 to per 1 faculty ratio as well. Here's some points of pride, things that Southern Miss is recognized for. We're one of the nation's leading research institutions. We're among 1% of universities worldwide accredited in both business and accounting. And we're one of only 40 public institutions accredited in all 4 areas of the arts. So you can actually major in music, dance, theater, and art as well. Our nursing program as well is one of the top ones in the state of Mississippi. And we have a 100% post-graduation rate as well. And employment rate. And we're ranked 13th in the nation to produce the most certified teachers as well. Here's some ways to get involved here on Southern Miss's campus. We have over 220 types of student organizations to get involved in. We have study abroad opportunities in over 20 countries. We have semester-long study abroad opportunities, summer as well. And then we have chateau programs over the Christmas break as well. And then we have some really cool Southern Miss traditions as well. One of my favorites is when incoming students have an opportunity to get covered in gold paint and to paint under our football stadium as well. This is how to apply. We have about a 10-minute application process. And so you'll pay a $40 application fee, and you'll submit your official high school transcript and ACT and SAT scores. And the website located below is our direct website as well for you to find our application as well. Here's our automatic academic excellence scholarships. So if a student has a 21 on their ACT, and we also do an SAT equivalent as well, with a 3.0 core GPA, you can receive up to $2,500 annually. And if you receive a 30 or above on the ACT, you get full value of tuition as well. Here's our scholarship opportunities as well. We have shortened it to the GO system as its name, but it's a streamlined application for students that have been admitted. You'll fill out a general application. Once you have submitted that application, you will be matched to over 900 types of scholarships, all pulled into one location on the website for you to fill out. And so we have competitive scholarships, and for out-of-state students, they have an opportunity to get involved in our Honors College Scholar Program here at Southern Miss. You can actually navigate this website before you're admitted. So if you go to that website located below, you can actually search keywords to see if we have a scholarship for you. Here's how to visit campus. So we have two types of tours. We have a Discover Southern Miss tour, which is your basic tour of the university, and academic sessions where you can actually meet someone in an academic department and go over class schedules. We're also offering Saturday tours for students as well to work around your schedule. Here's some important deadlines. And so we're already past the October 1st deadline where the FAFSA application and housing application has already opened. December 1st is the admissions deadline for any scholarship considerations. So we want to make sure that you get all of your requirements in before the December 1st deadline. January 15th is the deadline for competitive programming. February 15th is the priority deadline for campus housing. And May 1st is the deadline to accept scholarships and to sign up for orientation as well. And here's my contact information. Please reach out to me if you ever have any questions. I'm kind of your go-to person here at Southern Miss. Also follow me on Instagram as well. And yeah, that's about it.
Great, thank you, University of Southern Mississippi. And our final presenter for the evening is going to be Faulkner University.
Thank you, Chris. Appreciate that. Guys, thank you so much for the opportunity to be on a panel with just so many amazing institutions. I'm going to go ahead and start this one a little bit differently. I want to go ahead and present because one of the things that we pride ourselves in is our personality. And I definitely want to go ahead and just have a moment with you one-on-one, just to tell you a little something about Faulkner. We are located in Montgomery, Alabama, specifically the heart of Montgomery. We were established back in 1942 as a Bible college. So we are a 4-year private Christian institution, but since then we have brought into so many different worlds. And I want to go ahead and just bring up my screen now. But yes, we've grown so far past that, and like many of the places that you've heard tonight, we definitely pride our alumni and our folks who have just done amazing things, and I want to kind of call attention to that for you tonight. We've got amazing faculty and staff here. When we are talking about the student-teacher ratio, we're actually at a 15-to-1 ratio. And when I say that, is the actual teachers to the actual students. There are no student assistants involved in that. It is basically just the teacher and you guys. So when you go to lunch, more than likely, you're gonna hang out with your professor. You're gonna get to see them there. Don't be surprised if they invite you to come over for a dinner. Don't be surprised if they wanna come out to one of your volleyball games or a baseball game or any of our football games as well to cheer you on. In fact, watch out for Miss Elsa Price. She is one of our biology professors, and almost guarantee she's going to show up at your wedding whenever you meet somebody here. There's just so many amazing people that want to go ahead and make sure we help you transition from where you're at to where you want to be. So to kind of slow things down just a little bit, I want to go ahead and just bring up some of the things that are offered here at Faulkner. If you take a look at our website, faulkner.edu, you will see that we have quite an array of opportunities here. We do have a law school. In fact, in Alabama, there are only 3 accredited. Jones Law School is one of them. They are one of our upper colleges that we have. They have a 90% placement rate with the bar, so we're very, very proud of them. Recently, we just announced a health science program as well. So for those of you who are interested in speech language pathology, physical therapy, occupational therapy, you're in luck. We've just opened up those master's programs. In fact, speech language pathology, just last year, they had their very first cohort that graduated, and each one of them graduated at 100% placement rate. On top of that, just in case you're wondering how lucrative speech language pathology is, each one of them has a starting salary of about $90,000. So just throwing that out there for you guys. We are also very proud of our education department, which is 100% employment rate, and our computer science department, which is also 100% employment rate. One of the great things about Faulkner is that you do not have to sacrifice being at a small college and have small dreams. In fact, we want you to go as big as possible. In the state of Alabama, if you are going to go ahead and be a licensed teacher, no matter what school you go to, you need to go ahead and follow the same licensure procedures. So that means when you come to Faulkner, you're taking the same test as any other school. You're getting licensed in the exact same way. The difference is this: you have a teacher that's going to be there from the moment you come in to the moment you graduate. In fact, we have some of our professors who still follow up with their teachers even 4, 5, 10 years after graduation. So if you are a student who's looking for something very personal, if you're looking for an environment that is looking to help you grow, then I definitely encourage you to kind of look into Faulkner and see if this could be a good fit for you. And one more thing I want to throw your way as well is that when you're looking for a university, you're looking for a college, look for that X factor. Something could be perfect on paper. It could have, the best looking campus. It could be in the most ideal location. But once you kind of look at colleges long enough, you notice that there's just a lot of basic similarities. So what you want to do is find that X factor. And the best way you could probably do that is by going on campus, have a visit, look around. We'd love to show you our dormitories. They're absolutely gorgeous. The girls, we actually call it a ski lodge because it's that beautiful. The guys, brand new dorm here as well. But we want you to go ahead and take some time and visit, whether it be virtually or whether it be in person. Please go ahead and reach out to me, ask some questions in the question segment here. I'd love to go ahead and help you out with that. But as far as some practicality points here, I want to go ahead and make sure I share that with you. The first is that we are still accepting ACT scores. 18 gets you accepted and begins the merit scholarship. A little known fact: when you are a private institution, you are not subject to out-of-state tuition. So if you lived in Tennessee, interested in Faulkner, and a little bit afraid about how much extra is going to cost, don't worry about that. We cost the same amount whether you live down the street or in a different state, and the scholarships are where the main factor comes into play. So get your ACT scores in. We have tiers that go all the way up from 18 to 30, and we'd love to go ahead and stack that financial aid as high as possible. This is October, so hopefully you've done your FAFSA or about to do your FAFSA, because that's going to be a huge segment, of course. But yeah, we'd love for you just to go ahead and kind of look around. As I mentioned, please go ahead and reach out to my contact. Going to go ahead and throw that up right now. But again, if you are looking, if you feel like your studying style is more intimate, it's more personal, we'd love to go ahead and talk to you and get to know you. Thank you so much for your time.
Great. Thank you very much, Faulkner, and to all of our panelists this evening. We do have about 5-6 minutes left. So this is a great opportunity for all the attendees to pose any questions you may have to our panelists via the Q&A function. It's also an opportunity maybe to have our panelists go around and share a little bit more about their school. So I'm going to pose this question. What is your favorite tradition or event on campus? Or if you've already answered that question in your presentation, what is your favorite part of campus, whether that be a building or a dining hall or whatever it may be? So why don't we go in the order that we presented and start with Auburn.
Sure. So we have tons of traditions. One that I think is really special just because I got to experience it on the other side of things is called call-outs. And so basically we have this tiered area that's by a green space, and basically when students apply for an interview process, student organization, rather than the final list just being listed on a door somewhere, it's actually students' names are called out. So a lot of people gather to celebrate their friends that are picked for that student organization. And I actually was able to leave class, a grad level class, last spring, and I heard some commotion going on. It was late at night and realized it was the call outs for student recruiters, our tour guides, and made it just in time to see one of the students that I recruited from Tennessee be called out, and got a video and was able to send it to his dad. So it's just a really special thing for everybody and a special connection for me as an admissions advisor.
Great, thank you. University of South Carolina.
Yeah, for me, I guess I'll talk about one of my favorite places on campus. It's actually right in the center of campus. It's called the Horseshoe. That's right there in the center. It's a really beautiful area. That's where a lot of students are going to be hanging out in between classes. It's where our historic buildings are located because the campus was built in 1801. And you can actually go through the Horseshoe, and there's bricks where there's actually people get to pay for bricks to be laid in their name, and you can actually go through and look at all the different people who donated to have their bricks there. And there's actually kind of a tradition on campus for students to go and find some of the members of Hootie and the Blowfish that are there, and also to find some other historic bricks that are laid there. So there's some really cool things like that that are on campus, but it's a really beautiful area where you've got some, really old oak trees and palm trees that are going through there, and that's where a lot of the residence halls are located. So that's probably my favorite part on campus.
Great, thank you. Miami University.
So one of my favorite Miami traditions is, so we have a 2-year live-on requirement for our first and second year students. So our students typically can move off campus if they choose their junior or senior year. And in the town of Oxford, there are a number of houses which obviously house our juniors and seniors, and students can give those houses a name. So sometimes the names of those houses are passed down. We have some of our students on campus whose parents attended Miami. Some of those houses have had the same name since their parents were on campus, or they can switch it up on a year-to-year basis. So the town of Oxford is small enough where it really becomes all about where students live. It's more about the name of your house rather than the street number. So that also kind of highlights our campus community and how close everyone really is.
Okay, thank you. Virginia Tech.
Yeah, so actually we're fortunate enough that I have my colleague Rich Davis here, and he's actually an alum, so he would like to share his experience.
Hey, good evening, everybody. So the experience I want to share is a football game in Layden Stadium at Virginia Tech. So one of our traditions is that we play Enter Sandman by Metallica when the team comes on the field, and everybody is jumping in the stands. Everybody's going bananas, and we've actually had that phenomenon measured on the Richter scale when students are jumping. So we think that's pretty exciting, and there's really nothing like it in college football. So thanks for letting me share that.
Is that what caused our regional earthquake a couple months ago?
I can neither confirm nor deny.
University of Southern Mississippi.
Yeah, so one of our cool traditions every year around homecoming, we have what's called a fountain sit. So different students will nominate students on campus from freshman to senior year. And so students will show up in wetsuits and sit in the fountain, and they're asked about trivia about Southern Miss. And so it lasts about a couple hours, and whoever's last standing wins. So that's one of my favorite traditions to watch students partake in.
Great, thank you. And Faulkner University.
So 2 quick ones come to mind, one sweet, one fun. The fun one is called Midnight Madness. Basically, it's the first game of our basketball season. It's technically a scrimmage game that is held at midnight. And at the end of the first quarter every year, we purposely foul and we send them to the line. And at that first free throw shot, we go crazy with toilet paper. We just kind of light up the whole gym, and there's toilet paper on the rafters. And the referees have come to expect this, so they know what's happening on that first game all the time. And the second quick one is we actually adopted a elementary school here in Montgomery. And on the first day of their school, our football team, our soccer team, cheerleaders, they line up, and when those kids come off the bus, they treat them like rock stars. They treat the teachers like rock stars, and they let them know that, hey, We're here for you whenever you need us. And it's just really awesome watching these big old 300-pound football guys watching tros with these elementary kids.
Great, thank you. Thank you to all of our panelists this evening. Attendees, feel free to send emails to the universities to get more information about their schools. But again, thank you all for coming and sharing your information with the group today. This does bring us to the end of our session this evening. So I want to thank everybody for joining us. Before we end the session, just a couple quick points. Once you close this window, you will receive a very quick 4-question survey that we ask you to take a minute and complete. We also just want to remind you to sign up for more sessions at the same website where you signed up for this evening's session. And then again, in about 1 week, a recording of this session will be available on that registration website. So thank you to everybody. Have a good evening. And to the attendees, good luck in your school search.